As always, I'm sitting here at the beach. Beautiful, beautiful beach this morning, and I am in love with Vietnam. It's beautiful, and I was thanking God this morning walking on this beach. Like, thank you so much for this beautiful, serene scape I get to look at every single morning. Just pure grateful for uh, being able to wake up to a scene like this, because I got a text message from my friend yesterday. She's like, Gloria, it is negative 30 degrees out right now. She's in Minnesota, where I'm from. It's negative 30 degrees out. And school canceled on us. School literally was canceled because it was negative 30 degrees out. Negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit out. I'm dead serious up in the north of America. And I'm like, wow, I'm very blessed and grateful to get the chance and opportunity to travel to countries like this. And today's day 4 of 75 Hard. And I'm bringing this up because I used to be someone that was mad at life, mad at the moon. I'd blame everybody. And I was at a point in my life back when I was a teenager and younger where I was known to be angry and uptight at everybody and everything, which is unfortunate. So I wrote a journal entry, and I want you guys to listen, because if anyone was going through the same thing where you have so many emotions inside of you at one time, every single hour you feel like you're going through 30 different emotions, 60 different emotions, and you feel emotionally unstable, right? I'm gonna break down and tell you my story, and how I fixed it and overcame it and actually channeled my emotions into something that was powerful. So I was mad at life. I used to be someone that was angry, mad at life. I would blame the moon for everything. I was mad at life for no reason. I grew up extremely angry, and I'd get mad at everything. I would have no place. I'd have no patience, and I remember my mom always telling me in her hectic way to sit down and have some patience. I was always told when I was younger that I was uptight. And I needed to calm down and settle down. I could never sit still. I'd always be angry, uptight, and always in everybody's face, which is unfortunate. So I had no patience. My mom told me always to sit down. And then I didn't even have a lick of strength in me to be calm in chaos and to find peace in things that didn't even go my way. Everything had to go my way. And if it didn't go my way, I would blow up like a bomb. I always had to get what I wanted. I always had to get the new iPhone. I'd beg my mom for the new thing that was trending at school. I was a beggar, and I would always do anything in my power to get what I wanted and please myself. And when I didn't get what I wanted, it led to me being angry. So angry, I'd blow up. I'd say rude things that I could not take back. There's a period in my life where I didn't have a good relationship with one of my siblings. And every single day, we'd pick each other apart verbally. Sit down for lunch. It was COVID time. We'd pick each other apart verbally. And that's where we both got our anger out on each other, and we said really, really rude things that we could not take back at all, which is very unfortunate. But at the same time, we both learned a lot through that. We don't have that anymore. But back then, everything had to go my way. I always had to get what I wanted. And that mindset is what damaged my mental health and made me sick. Someone that I didn't even like, I'd look in the mirror and point out the flaws in myself. I'd look in the mirror and I'd point out myself, and I'd get angry at the little bit of fat in my face, right? I'd get angry at the skinny fat that I was. I'd get angry at how skinny my legs were. I grew up pretty thin. And I get angry at myself for not being perfect. I was holding myself to a standard and channeling my anger into that standard. And I was channeling my anger my anger came from just not being perfect, and always a perfect standard when perfectionism doesn't even exist. So one of my uncles actually knew me as his niece that was always angry. He'd always approach me at family events and tell me, you're not angry anymore. Oh, Gloria, you're not angry. Oh, you're happy. And he'd tease me when I'm older. He still does now, but it's well deserved. And my older self, when he even said that, he'd point me out and he'd hold me accountable, and he'd look at me and pick at me for being angry because I was so emotional back then. But deep down in those moments, I was boiling anger even more at myself for getting angry. And it was just a whirlwind and like a self-sabotage loop I put myself in. I was just angry, and I was angry that I was angry, and I was just such a angry person. Like steam would come out of my ears, and then I'd be boiling deep down. Growing up, I made mistakes. I was angry at my mistakes, but I was angry at my sister's mistakes, and I was angry for other people at their hardships in their life and what they're going through and things that they might have said that made me angry. And that's not a good way of living at all. And that's where the depression and the anxiety kind of rooted from, is my anger management problems. I seriously had anger and management problems as a young woman. And I'm so glad I overcame that. To me back then, there was something so wrong with unorder. There's something so wrong with chaos. There's something so wrong with every single person and every single thing that did not do what I wanted them to do. I was not someone that I liked back then, and I don't believe I was someone that was nice to be around. The anger was eating me up inside, and I needed a way to get it out. I had emotional instability because I was on sugar. I was eating sugar every single day, eating trash fast foods. As a teenager, I worked at a restaurant where I was cooking food in vegetable oil, and all of this combined ruined my mental health and made me angrier and angrier and angrier. Sugar calcified my pineal gland. I had no touch on reality, touch on truth. I had no touch to my energies in my body that are flowing through my body. I had no touch on a relationship with Jesus, a relationship with God. I had no relationship with any of my energy. I didn't have a relationship with my soul or my higher self because I was so angry, and I was calcifying my pineal gland. The gland up here that helps us connect with our energies and stay centered, connect with God. Those sugars were ruining my mental health, and they were making me angry. And what they did is they clouded my judgment and they prevented me from seeing my anger itself. They prevented me from seeing my anger itself. And the worst thing you can be is someone that's ignorant to their problems. So I was mad at life, mad at people who told me I was an emotional wreck, mad at my mom for telling me I needed more patience. I didn't even get mad at my sisters for coming in late at night, making too much noise before going to bed. We shared the same room. I'd get angry at my friends when they didn't even want to do things I wanted to do. I get angry at other students in class for being louder than I was. I looked at everything, and my perception was that if this doesn't go my way, I'm gonna go into fight or flight mode and get angry. I'm gonna get angry. So I got to a point where my anger boiled up so much that it was eating me from the inside out. It was destroying my mental health. And at my job, it was showing up the way that it worked, right? In my work, my anger would be in the little, putting the fryer down, right? Putting the fryer down, because I worked with the fryer. I'd put it down very angrily and passive aggressive, and pick it up passive aggressive. I'd take the scoopers, the chompers, the tongs, whatever they're called, and I'd grab the food and I'd put it on a plate very, very fast and angry, and I'd give it to the customer And everything I did was passive aggressive because I was mad at life. I had no good reason to be freaking angry. I had no good reason. There's nothing wrong with emotions and feeling all of these emotions. Most people say, I need to be happy. I want to be happy, right? Life is about feeling those full range of emotions. But when your full range of emotions are only negative and angry, that's not a way you should live. So my boss even thought I was mentally unstable at the restaurant at the time because everything I did, I put a little bit more oomph into each time I picked up and set down the fryer and grabbed the food and put it on the plate for the customers. It was all because I had no way to properly express myself. I needed to get my anger out in a way that actually made sense to me, in a way that was healthy for me. And it was creating. I used creating content. I used creating a business. I used the fact of creating the life that I truly wanted to live for myself. I used that to channel my anger into because I knew I had all of this energy. Why not channel this energy into something that could actually benefit me in my life? So I put it into creating content, creating a life that I wanted to live, and creating a business that could serve me for a very long time. I could use to buy my freedom out from school and from work, right? Working in a restaurant, working at Walmart. So if I knew that I had this anger my whole life, why not channel it into something and make a difference in this world, make a difference on this planet? So I decided to use anger as a tool, and I took it like a hammer, and I hammered and chiseled my way to success. And I started my content creation business, creating content for local businesses, online agencies, and brands. And I channeled all of my anger into creating content that made a difference for companies and everyday people. And this business changed my life. It was the very business that I grew to the moon. And I still have to this day, so I can travel the world. Friends started finding out. People started following me and asking me to help them do the same thing, channel their emotions, and also build the life that they wanted to build. And I developed my anger issues, my dark, low-frequency feelings, into something that turned them into high-frequency results. Remember the law of duality. Everything is dual. Like and unlike are the same. They're just polar. Love and hate are one of the same frequency. Someone has to just tune into the right frequency, but they're on the same frequency. But a different side of it, their poles are the same thing, same frequency, that just has to be tuned differently. And they can be tuned. And I remember that law of polarity, where if I'm feeling a negative emotion, a negative frequency like anger, love is on that same frequency, and I can just tune it into the right one. And that's why I was so emotional. Love, hate, love, hate, love, hate, anger, right? Because it's one of the same thing. It's the law of duality. And I turn my hatred for this world, I turn my anger, I turn my low frequency thoughts and low frequency moods into something that was high and serving me. Every single person watching this can do the same thing. Guys, I had that realization that I was not going to be angry forever. I was not going to be passive aggressive and be someone that didn't fulfill other people, someone that didn't bring sunshine to other people for the rest of my life. I decided I did not want to be that person that showed up angry. Such a negative frequency, negative emotion. I wanted to be someone that had the love and the positivity in them. And I tuned the frequency with my business. I tuned the frequency with making an impact. And I made an impact on my own life and my own customers, my own brands that I'm working with, that I worked with. I tuned my anger into something that was fruitful. And I used the power of love and the power of God to help me with that. I remember bowing down and asking God, help me. Help me. I surrender. Help me. And He helped me tune my low frequency into a high frequency. He helped me find this business opportunity, run into local business owners, start creating content for them, and turn this into a spiraling effect that made a huge, huge ripple effect on everybody in this world. I was once someone that walked around angry and mad at life and mad at the moon. But I want you to understand that if you feel that same way, You don't have to feel that way anymore. You can channel it into something. You can channel that powerful energy of anger into something that will bring you fruits onto this planet and bring other people fruit to make an impact. And that's how I went from someone that wasn't nice to be around, someone that wasn't doing anything good on this planet, someone that wasn't living for God or living for Jesus, to someone that's a disciple of God, someone that's a disciple of making an impact, and someone that brings fruit wherever they walk. Imagine making such an impact like that where you have that mindset to make a change and a difference in this world, no matter who you're talking to and what you do. And you have to create that person from the inside. It'll start to turn outside, right? Inward goes outward, externally. So I decided to make an impact with it. This harsh anger inside me, I channeled it into something, and I used the law of duality at the time. I didn't even know what it was at the time, the law of duality, and I shaped it into a love frequency, a love for this planet, a love for Jesus, a love for God, a love for other people. And I turned that anger into love, and I have a perception of love now. Turn the anger into a tool. And you can use it like God has given us, right? You can use a skill. God gave us the skill. And when we use God's tools and skills, right, that He's given us and He's provided to us, He will bear us fruit. He will give us opportunities. When we work and we follow God and we follow His commandments and we follow how we follow His rules that He put on this planet, the rules in the Bible, the book of truth. We follow the way, the truth of what He designed this world to be. We will be able to chisel the life that we want. We will be able to chisel the life that we deserve by following God and following His book. Meaning that when we take His tools, we can take it and we can carve and work. We can work for a higher frequency. We can carve it and put in work, put in energy, put in hours. We can put in time. We can put in so much intensity and use His tools to carve a new path, and He will bear us fruit. He will give us opportunity. He will give us what we carve. So be someone that uses God's tools and chisels the life that they want to, and God will bear fruit upon you. God rewards people that put in effort. God rewards people that work genuinely. God will reward you. Matthew 7:16 says, "By their fruit you will recognize them." God judges people by results. God judges people by good work, right? Truth shows up in action, and good work is visible fruit. Meaning that, again, you put in the work, God will favor you. You use His tools and energies on this planet, He will bear fruit upon you. He will see that good work. So use those energies, my friends, and channel it into something that will help you build the life that you want to build. Build that dream life where you're traveling the world, making a difference, making an impact, where you're living that free life. You're not chained to anything. You're not chained to a job. You can ask God to guide you and help you use and channel your energies for the good.